that's a service. I mean, we don't get exact control of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we do. We may.
What steps you would take if you got on the.
Well, I would ask for an organizational chart first. That's where there's a fair amount of money in that, and then when it comes to your service contracts, you go through the same exercise, which is you identify what the organizational chart looks like, how many people you have in the organization, who's doing what, right? Roles, responsibilities, and accountabilities.
Do you think we should be going out for bids for a new property manager for the HOA?
Absolutely.
Basically, what you're saying is real managers mismanaging it because that's what we pay them for is to keep it efficient.
Yeah, we've got two companies in here. One's called Real Management, and the other one is called Castle. And if you go onto the website of Real Management, you get a pretty good idea of how they're organized and how they're growing as an organization. Now, Castle's a little different because Castle offers up monthly meetings with their executives. I sit in on those. I am the only person in SoliVita who sits in on those meetings.
They allow you to sit in on the meeting?
Any resident can do that. You simply sign up and you sit in. And they offer different services to the different communities that they represent. 85%, and you learn things like 85% of their customer base is condominiums. 15% is HOAs like this, single family homes. And then you start asking yourself the question, how many people do they have? Where's the money? What are they doing for us?
But they're nothing to do with the HOA.
You're paying for it.
Nothing at all to do with the HOA.
Yeah, they do. You're paying.
They're
You're paying.
not under the control of the HOA.
They will be.
So that's another subject. Right?
What's that? They will be. That's coming.
We don't know.
Within 24 to 36 months, we'll have it.
Really, is it so?
Absolutely.
2 to 3 years.
I'll put money on it.
What's your perspective on how a value of amenities should be arrived at?
There's actually been a report out done as part of the lawsuit by a company called MAI. It's an accredited organization that actually does evaluation of facilities like this. And they were actually asked by Brenda Taylor, Norm, and what's the name of the company?
Bill.
Yeah, to do an assessment. And there's a report. I read the report, and the report looked at it in the three classic ways to assess the value of facilities like this. The first one is market value, which would be like your house.
Right.
Okay, what can you get in the market? And the number they came up with was zero, because there's nothing comparable, and there's no market for it, right? And then they go through what they call a bid of what's the value of the organization from a revenue perspective. And when you go through that process, what you come up with is zero. Okay, so there's only three methods, right, that are widely accepted. And the final method they did was they said, well, the only other way to value it is what's the replacement cost. So if you built like with like, right? Now that doesn't mean you can sell it. It just says, well, you want a facility and you build it like with like. New, $17 million. Okay, so now the question becomes, does Taylor Morrison have a customer? Well, they've only got one. Right, because there's nothing else they can do with it. It doesn't generate enough revenue for whatever. So the only question is, how much are you willing to pay for it?
And I guess it really is how much can Taylor Morrison somehow squeeze out of us, because they know how dear it is to the hearts of retirees to not be separated from their amenities, right?
Okay, now let me take you a little different place. Okay, because this isn't my first rodeo. So if I sat in a room full of people and said, if you had an opportunity to have amenities here that were world class, top of the line, like Jones Homes at Twin Lakes, what would you want? Well, you'd want to have a walk-in pool. Okay, you'd want to have a pool with laps, right? for people, and you want to make sure it's sized properly. Pickleball courts, tennis courts, you name it, right? And I've already done this, by the way. This is an exercise. As an engineer, I understand, and I've already I've priced them new, and I've also gone out and actually priced them in the marketplace. I can actually go buy a tennis court. I can buy a set of tennis courts, community here. I can buy pools.
The only problem is we're landlocked. We don't have a place to build them.
You got it. Well, not really.
Only one spot, and that's where they're going to
There are spots and there are opportunities. How much is your house worth again? How much is your house worth again?
Well,
How much will you sell it for?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can do a cost estimate and I can establish a cost to bring in a new set of amenities that the community would love to have. Okay, now that does me a lot of good if I go through that exercise, because not only am I looking at that, I'm going to tell Taylor Morrison, guess what I'm looking at? Do you know why I'm telling Taylor Morrison that? Because they're going to start realizing these guys got options.
Yeah, you need to have leverage.
You got to have leverage, and right now we don't have leverage. We got no leverage.
Well, that's not exactly true, is it?
What's the leverage?
We do have leverage, because if we decide not to buy it, we decide not to buy it at the ridiculous price that they are alleged to have.
And that's a different leverage. That I agree with you. You're there, but if I can sit down with a group of people like yourself and say, here are the various options that I have. Now the question becomes, okay, how do I want to pull those levers? Right?
One of the other points is though their leverage might be, and they have a corporate image to uphold. That's what's our savior, I think, a little bit, because if they were just a meat company, they could just say, well,
okay. Now
you're going to buy
it.
You're going to buy it, or else we're going to make your amenities not too happy for you guys.
Never saw another house.
And I'm going to put pressure on them. All right, Gary knows the pressure I'm going to put on him, because I've got it already out ready to go. Gary has helped me write a letter, and the letter that I'm writing is a letter that is going to our state legislators, including the AG department, to talk about what's going on here. And I'm not saying I need your help to fix it. What I'm saying to them is there is a Florida statute 720. I think you guys need to get together and tighten that statute up. And tighten it up so they can't do what they're currently doing to us in terms of putting extra charges on us. And we start building more teeth into the turnover process, because we're getting abused. All right, so I got that letter. He knows it. He's read it. And that's ready to go. I'm going to send that out in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm going to help Taylor. And then I'm going to help Taylor Morrison a little bit more. Okay, because I'm going to take that letter and I'm going to send it out to every state legislator in every state that they got business in. I know how to play this game, and I can play hardball. It's not a problem for me at all.
So your main interest then is in the next 2-3 years, as you say,
right,
talking about the possibility of the amenities. But more especially, what would you do on day one?
I do a lot of listening. I need to.
You were talking in your write-up about the lack of communication.
How would you improve that?
What's that?
How would you improve communication?
From the board to the resident.
Well, here's how I communicate it in the companies I work with. If I can answer that question. What I do is I walk around a lot. As a matter of fact, if you go outside here and you talk to the attendants and you talk to the maintenance guys, they all know me by name. I know them by name. Okay, so I talk to people and I get an understanding of what's going on. I'll talk to you. As a matter of fact, the first thing I do is all the communities that we have in here, I would set up regular meetings to sit and listen. They're called listening sessions. Learn to shut up and learn to listen. Right? That's the problem you got with a lot of management people. And when you listen to what people have to say and you understand, then you start understanding what it is I've got to help people with. He knows it because I've been involved with him in 3 or 4 different issues. But you better start listening to people. And then when you've got an important issue, you don't simply say it's a line item on an agenda. You give people information. you make people dangerous, and you ask the question, tell me what you think.
One way
Don't
of
people have that opportunity now to come to board meetings?
well, the problem is it's only once a month, and there's only like 25 people in some of those board meetings, like the one the other day.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's their option.
I know it's their option,
It's their
but
option to-
what could happen? What halfway through the month between the board meetings at a 2-week point, why couldn't the club does it? They send out a newsletter saying all of the
Absolutely.
the updates they're doing, and here's your money in work, and everyone's that's cool.
Yeah.
Nothing, crickets, nothing from HR.
You
Why
and I-
can't they do a newsletter at the week point?
You and I are calibrated, 100%.
Right.
I am with you 100%.
Yeah, and the committees can give them. But
Don't they?
You,
the
you,
problem is writing a report takes time, and if you're retired, you may not want to do it.
you should get regular newsletters that give you financial information, right? Month to date, year to date, previous year, right? There should be a list of issues we're working on with status, expected completion date, issues that are emerging, and issues that we put on the back burner.
Then, if you did that, people wouldn't be coming to the meetings angry because they'd be getting this
Right.
information, because they were in an absence of information. The vacuum is filled by.
I like you. You nailed it. You got it.
Being operated in a transparent way.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. What committee is it?
It's the finance.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Finance.
What do you think of the post-turnover claims? Are you aware of that? $26 million. Is that just? They were talking about.
Go talk to Faye about the roads.
If I'm busy.
And
Yeah, the argument is that the roads really never stand up legally, so you wouldn't want to have a case because you're going to be paying the legal fees.
can you show me the report that's done by an accredited engineering firm that confirms that?
Yes, the maintenance.
I haven't seen it.
Those are the two goals.
I'm looking for a road report from an accredited engineering firm. You know what? The difference between accredited and Joe Blow up the road who comes in and gives you an opinion, right? So show me that report. There isn't one.
I'm not going to take any more of your time.
I enjoyed the banter. I enjoy it. Nice meeting you too. Thank you.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Who's next?
What can we do about some of these committees that don't turn in a report?
Well, you got to sit down and, with the committee members and ask the question, what's going on?
When is that going to happen?
Well, if I get on the board, I would make sure that happened in the first 30 days,
I
right?
got an interest.
Here's the question, because I know in corporate world exactly how to figure that out. The problem is in a volunteer world, it might be a whole different perspective, right? Because you have different incentives and motivations, and what you can do when you go in and go, hey guys, you got to make a report.
You're right,
And
but
if you don't, by the way, you're not going to get the raise next year, and and you might be
we got
fired. Right?
we got 4 girls downtown sitting in this compliance department who are quite capable of sitting in on a meeting and writing the minutes, and then having them reviewed by one person and sending them out. This isn't rocket science.
It shouldn't be rocket science. It shouldn't take long.
No,
if
it
you do
shouldn't.
a summary,
It's
bullet point.
easy to. By the way, have a chocolate. You need some. They're good for
I'm
you.
trying to lose weight.
Oh yeah, you look like you don't.
You look like
I've
you're
lost a lot of weight.
What activities do you do on your join those groups?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate the banter. Thank you.
Thanks for
You're
your
heading out. Thank you so much.
Hopefully you get there done.
I'm Gene.
So you got an answer.
Terry, good to meet you.